Hey, hello and welcome. Here we are. Let's do this. Okay, so welcome to today's 7:45 Live. If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. Yogi Berra. Today we're going to talk about clarity, really having a very clear destination in mind. You don't know how, you don't have to know how you're going to get there. But if you don't actually know your North Star, anything could be a North Star. Anything could take you into a direction that you want to go, or maybe you don't want to go. And I don't know about you, but in my journey, I've had many North Stars. And I think sometimes we bounce from those different North Stars. But every time we stay focused on one direction because we are absolutely clear, that is when the manifestation process happens and we're able to feel ourselves empowered and on our journey towards what it is that we want to actually accomplish. So, clarity literally just looks like defining what done looks like. Okay? So, what done looks like. Oftentimes we write goals. I want to do better. I want to be better. I want to climb mountains. I even had to take a look at my own goals that I've been writing and make sure, even with as much clarity as I have on what it takes to write a good goal, really writing a good, solid goal. It's not it's not just writing down I want to do better. It actually comes down to defining, what does doing better look like? What does successful for what I'm trying to achieve look like? So today, what I want you to do and what we're going to talk about is goal setting. Brian Tracy has a I plus result plus time type of a format. And because we know that the brain attaches emotion to memory, and what we're really driven by is the feeling behind what the result will get us. So we want more money, but why? Because the feeling that more money will actually give us. It's the ability to go on a road trip when needed, on a vacation or a holiday, right? It's the feeling of I can provide for my family. It's the and not just the feeling that I can, but the feeling that that ability gives, right? It gives a feeling of empowerment and of capability and essentially thrive, that thriving type feeling, right? When we're trying to survive, we can't really thrive. So, how do we attach a feeling to the goal so that way, when we're on our journey, which inevitably is going to be not smooth, right? Success is not a linear line. There is a reason why there's a diagram that shows success like this, because there is no truer definition of what a journey could look like from A to B. It's also less fun. If everything was easy, would it be worth it? I listened to a podcast once that was talking about if you were just given $1 million, people who win the lottery, right? Because that wasn't earned, because they didn't have to put in the time or develop into the type of the person that could handle that level of money, they often lose it very quickly, right? So, and those are lessons. So if you were just handed $1 million, would it feel good? Absolutely. Would it last long? No. No, it would not. Unless you took that money and you invested yourself and you figured out how to basically take a 2 to 5x return on that money through developing yourself, through building skills, etc. So when writing out goals, I want you to start thinking about, as you approach this day, it's now 7:52, we're getting into the 8 o'clock PST hour. As you are approaching this day and you're thinking about the goals that you want to accomplish, we have longer term top 10. So Brian Tracy talks about this a lot, but also there was a study done in 1979, which is at this point kind of a long time ago, before my lifetime, where a Harvard MBA class was asked who had written their goals. So only 3% of this class had actually taken the time to write their goals. A decade later, that 3% of individuals were earning on average 10 times the percentage of the other 97% of the individuals combined. This is a classic illustration used often, but what this demonstrates is if you take the time to develop the empowered habit of writing out your goals and reviewing your goals, write them at night, review them in the morning, write them in the morning, review them throughout the day, write them in the evening and the night. So you're constantly thinking on that Northern Star and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. What do you think the possibility or the chances are that that would increase your focus and your consistency and even your energy, feeling elevated at the idea of accomplishing versus the feeling of have to do versus I get to do? Completely different energy behind just the two little I have to do versus I get to do, right? When you're very clear on your goals, and very clear. So what is an example of this? Because I think sometimes, okay, a very, very simple one is I want to quit smoking. Well, we know that we don't really change behaviors unless our identity aligns with the new behavior that it is that we're aiming to adopt. So a more strategic way to write that same goal would be, I'm a non-smoker and it feels amazing, or I feel amazing, or I have an abundance of energy, right? So you're attaching a feeling to a result that also has a new identity attached to it. So I plus result plus time plus feeling, with the idea that in there, you're also crafting a new identity. Another example, I want to exercise more. How can this become a lot more specific? So I want to exercise more becomes I exercise for 20 minutes a day, super achievable. And I plus result plus time, and I feel on top of the world. So everything that we talk about is about empowered habits, right? Because we can have disempowering habits and we can have empowered habits. We can have habits that make us feel alive, that make us feel energized and vibrant. And again, if you don't know what vibrant feels like, I really challenge you to start taking a look at your habits, because when we are happy, when we are healthy, when our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and behaviors are aligned, that is the feeling of thriving. It's a feeling of I'm on top of the world. It is a completely different sensation than just living life for the sake of living it, counting the hours, living for the weekend, right? Living for the next holiday, which honestly is not a bad structure in my opinion, to say I'm going to work super hard for 3 months and reward myself with, or I'm going to work super hard for 3 weeks and reward myself with. And I'm going to work super hard today and reward myself with. Maybe each day it's not going to be a 1 week holiday. That just doesn't make sense. But maybe it's a different type of reward. Maybe the reward is a coffee the next day with a friend, or maybe that reward is something meaningful to you. I'm going to go to the gym. Maybe that reward is I'm going to get more time to hang out with my kids, right? Your reward is your reward. Your why behind what you're doing is also your why. But when you have clarity around what exactly it is that you are working on and that you will achieve, that is going to get you there so much faster. When you are revisiting your goals on a day-to-day basis, is that going to increase the likelihood or chances that you're going to accomplish those goals, or decrease? Because if it's going to increase the chances, is it worth the risk? High risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. So if a way to decide if a habit is good or not, to determine an empowered habit would be, do I feel empowered at the end of doing this? Okay, writing out your goals may feel a little bit draining to start. maybe. Or maybe it's exciting and new because you see the potential behind the action, that there is an actual potential ROI attached to the behavior of identifying exactly what you want and getting massive clarity, because clarity precedes mastery, Robin Sharma. So you're not going to know what you're going to get good at if you don't know what you want to get good at. You don't know what you're going to earn if you don't even know what the inputs are that are going to increase the likelihood that you're going to get the outputs that you desire. So in the planner, if you don't yet have one, DM me. There is a beginning of the day morning session, which we do at 5:30, where we set our mindsets, we become mindful, and then we go and move our bodies after. And then an evening session where we're able to reflect every day on our inputs, so the things that we did that are going to get us closer to the outputs or the thing that we desire, right? So that's just one way to say it. Another way to say it is, I would know in the morning, I would know that today was a win if, and then in the evening, actually looking at that and say, was it a win? What were my wins of the day? And celebrate those small little wins. And I'm telling you, it's something small. For example, my cold plunge. I'm having a heck of a time with it. This morning, I took the time to review the video, to then send it off to Charlie at Nubio. Okay? For me, that's a huge win. For whatever reason, procrastinating that behavior is there and real for me. I think it's because on the other end of it, I've been working at trying to get this thing to work for now like over a month. And I don't know if there's fear or what there is. So that small action, I just was like, let's do it. It took me 2 minutes to do. But you can build things up in your mind sometimes that, wow, feels like, you make a mountain out of a molehill. And that isn't always easy. So when you are thinking about your goals, the actions that you need to accomplish those goals, and you're reflecting each day on whether or not you accomplish them, the only true way to do that is to track it. You can feel like you did a ton, but is it the right ton? Is it the right actions that are going to get you the result that you're looking for? And your results is different than everyone else's. Something that you may have, something that I want, it's very different than maybe what you want. Does that make one or the other better? No. What that means is that means that if you have clarity, when you hit that, whatever that is, and it's really important to define what that marking is, that marker point. When you hit that, that's when you get into a space of, okay, great. Now I have extreme clarity on exactly what I'm doing, what I need to do to get there. And then every day, writing down your goals, revisiting it. I mean, if it worked for 3% of a study back in 1979, before there were as many amazing tools that we have today, before we had all of the, CRMs, first of all, mass education on how to execute. People like me who are willing to show up to support you and whatever it is that your goals are. DM me if you're interested in that help and that support, right? It's everywhere. If you choose it, you will start to see it. If you need the help and you don't even know where to start by just thinking about, first of all, knowing yourself. So if you really don't know what your goals are, if you don't know your Enneagram, you don't know your Myers-Briggs, maybe you kind of have an idea what they are, but really getting into that, understanding your motivations, your desires, who you are as a person. For me, freedom is so important. The ability to do what I want, when I want, with whomever I want, have nobody tell me otherwise, but yet still develop amazing relationships and be there and support individuals, be able to travel, be able to do these things. That takes a strategic approach to setting up a life and a business through different systems to be able to get a result. The same life that I would be setting up is not necessarily the same as that you, because we have different goals. So if you understand your goals, knowing that as a 7, adventure, fun-loving, variety-seeking type, I need to have and develop a life like that. If you're an Enneagram 8, you're going to have a challenger. You're going to want more control. Maybe you're going to be the boss of that. If you're a 1, you're going to want to change things and make the world a better place. And maybe that is something that you set your life up around. Again, your goals are yours. The more awareness we become of ourselves, pay attention to your triggers. For 1 week, write down everything that triggered you. You will find themes. For me, I feel stuck, not heard. If I start to feel like I am too routine and boxed in, I don't feel free and alive. And a lot of times there are little triggers or things that people say that I can feel the physiological reaction stir up in the body. Can you? When you feel those triggers or that energy start to kind of in your body, what thought contributed to that? That is your signal. That is one of your signals. Start listening to your thoughts, your subconscious thoughts, the thoughts that occur that aren't always conscious until you say, or spend a few minutes really unpacking within your own self. Like, why did I just feel that way? Why did I react that way? Why did I, right? Emotional intelligence is awareness. It's not just reacting. It's feeling the pain that inevitably comes up. And a lot of time it's because our thoughts are not aligned with the future outcome, or we're around somebody who says something that's out of alignment with how we currently think. I mean, somebody could be giving you the best advice in the world, but until you're ready for it, it's just going to be something that you think is, right? You're not going to want to listen to them. Not until you know, like, and trust them. Not until they've done something that ultimately is what you're trying to do or achieve, that then you believe in them or trust what they have to say. And that's okay. Look at the people who are doing the things that you want to do and learn from them. You can learn from everyone. You don't have to listen to everyone, but we can learn from everyone. So as you sit and get clarity on what it is that you want, start to define the action steps and then the empowered habits that you need to actually accomplish those goals. And one of those empowered habits is writing out your goals each night once you've got clarity on them. Reviewing it every morning. And just starting to get so dialed in so that when you're thinking about what do I do next, you're thinking about it in relationship to what do I need to do next to go from point A to point B as efficiently as possible. And then consistency, stay consistent with it. Give yourself 90 days. What can you accomplish in 90 days? I think you'll surprise yourself. All right, my friends, this is our time. Go remember, your life, your journey, your choice. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you imagine, Thoreau. Have a wonderful day.